Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kick Out at 2 podcast. My name is Christopher the Wilkman Wilkins, as people affectionately refer to me, and I'm here with my co-host, Righteous Jesse Butler.
Hello, welcome to Kick Out at 2.
Just to give you kind of a frame of reference, we are gigantic wrestling fans, and basically fans of anything nerdy and not growing up, normal type of stuff. We come from a hardcore punk rock background, grew up loving wrestling, love toys, love video games, anything awesome, and we decided why not get together like everyone else in the world is trying to do and talk about the things we like but be better at it than they do.
Because we are better.
Because we are better and we love the things more. So weekly we're just going to have a discussion about wrestling, and sometimes we'll be talking to wrestling fans or wrestlers. We got an interview today with a friend of ours, Kerry Awful, of Team IOU Tag Team, and that's why we're going to kind of keep this short and sweet. We had a pretty long interview with him.
But you guys will really enjoy it.
Yeah. But we just wanted to kind of ease into the podcast and let everybody know we're just some normal dudes that like wrestling and being weird. And so each week we'll kind of talk about the state of wrestling, what we liked, what we didn't like.
But it's going to be better than what you've already heard.
Yeah, but it's going to be better than what you've already heard. And also from a different point of view, we're like the everyman in terms of how we're thinking, but we're also still approaching it from a fan perspective instead of acting like we're know-it-all or being some sort of smart. Which our saying is, don't be a smart.
Yeah, please don't be a smart.
And you can hashtag that if you want. Hashtag don't be a smart. We have a Twitter, @KOAT Podcast, which we will be updating regularly, especially once this thing gets off the ground.
If you guys have recommendations on who you kind of want us to try to reach out to get on the show, feel free to throw them at us.
Yeah, because we'll talk to whoever. We don't care.
This is a podcast for the people.
That's gimmick infringement, right? Is it? I think so.
Let's fuck them.
Yeah. But anyways, I guess it was a pretty big week in wrestling this past week, which by the time this comes out, it is Sunday, October 11th that we are recording this podcast. So there's going to be a new Monday Night Raw before we come out, and NXT. Mm-hmm. But Raw last week actually was miserable. I couldn't finish it.
I've heard the past 3 weeks have been garbage. I don't have cable, so I don't really get to watch Raw or wrestling. But
yeah, it's been really bad. It's because it's boring. It would be fine if there was something like crappy going on, but it's literally there's no reason to worry about it week to week, which is a problem, and they need to amend that. Now on the flip side, NXT was straight golden. Straight fire.
As it usually always
this week.
is.
Yeah, the Takeover Respect show was by far their most solid show in ring-wise from start to finish. Because every NXT thing, there's always like high energy, everything's awesome, but there's always like a match or so in the middle, like a tag match or something that's not like, B plus A quality, but from start to finish, this show, the guys that don't get a lot of time, like the Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder.
I love them.
Oh, my God.
I love them.
Them and Gable and Jordan, they got to kind of show out finally on a bigger stage, which whenever somebody gets that opportunity, that leads to, just things going well, not just for them, but also for the company, because they know that they have somebody else that they can put a burden on top of. A lot of people, my only complaint from that show, it's not about the show, it's about the people that have watched it, which once again, don't be a smart. Everybody was complaining about the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic and the fact that Finn Balor and Samoa Joe won it, and they're like, well, I think it should be an established tag team that won. Well, the only established tag teams that they had in that were not well known, and up until that night, Jordan and Gable were working heel. So you can't put guys that just got over as like good guys that night, baby faces, because they're wrestling Rhino and Baron Corbin. You can't make them suddenly ascend to the top when you don't have any plans for him afterwards.
And really, who did you think was going to win it?
Yeah.
Like,
They'd say, oh, but Baron Corbin needed it to get over. No, it was a tag team classic for a man who passed away, so you're not going to let a heel get over because you want to respect his legacy.
Yeah.
So that's why they did that, because what were they going to do, have Baron Corbin go in there and smash the trophy over Cody Rhodes' wife? Like, that's not going to happen.
No way.
People love Dusty Rhodes. It was a tribute to him, and it was really well put together matches, and I thought that was awesome. And that's my only thing that I have to say really about this week in wrestling. Everybody knows the Iron Women's match was awesome. So since we've got kind of a longer podcast here, I want to cut this short and just go ahead and get into the interview once again with our friend Kerry Awful of the Team IOU Tag Team. And we are the Kick Out at 2 podcast. You can follow us at KOAT Podcast on Twitter.
Couple things you guys should check out. We're not sponsored by anything, so this is all just free will. What a Maneuver, wrestling t-shirts. Dude's a genius, pumps out great stuff.
Guy's awesome.
I've been subscribing to this wrestling loot box for the past couple months. Usually pretty solid stuff. The second month was incredible. All the Roddy Piper stuff, the kick out, the all out of bubblegum soda and shirt, amazing stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just some stuff you guys should check out for sure.
And obviously Pro Wrestling Tees, where you can actually find our friend Kerry's shirts from Team IOU, and he's sponsored by a Grappler brand.
Yeah.
So if you could check that out as well. Also, Big Boot Leg Drop.
Yeah.
They have cool punk rock and hardcore themed wrestling T-shirts, and if that's the sort of thing you're into, since apparently punk and hardcore are super cool with
that's where most
wrestling now, and that's where it's all coming from, and neck beards.
And if you guys are in Tennessee and you want to check out some great local wrestling, hit up SWF in Tullahoma. It's great. A bunch of friends wrestle out there. It's you get a good mix of all different kinds of wrestling. You get your strong style, you get your Memphis, you get your comedy. It's great. Just check it out if you're in the area. It's on Kerry's YouTube channel. You can check out Brett Ison's YouTube channel, Sean Fatal's YouTube channel. Lee Byford might have a YouTube channel. Just great wrestling there in Tennessee if you're in the area. Check it out.
All right, and we're going to go ahead straight into that interview with Kerry Awful of Team IOU. All right, we're back here on the Kick Out at 2 podcast. I am the Wilkman, Christopher Wilkins, here with our co-host, Righteous Jesse Butler. And we are about to interview one half of the tag team Team IOU, Kerry Awful. How you doing, Kerry? It's been a while.
It's been a while, man. God,
See you
2
every
years.
day.
Yeah, Jesse sees me every day.
Yeah, I don't know the last time I've seen you, man. It's been a long time.
3 years,
Yeah.
easily. But we keep up on the internet. And
Yeah.
that's good. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I still haven't seen you wrestle, but that's because of my social anxieties and not being able to get out of the house by myself.
Be happy you don't see me wrestle. You'd want your money back. It's horrible.
No. So how you been, man?
Good. Just grinding, working, traveling, being engaged, being an old man with a top bun.
Yeah.
You love it so much.
Yeah, man.
So proud of you.
I've waited forever. I've always wanted to do it, and mine's like a little baby poof.
It's like the top of an onion.
I look like the small onion in Mario when you pull it out, and it's just like all top and then no bottom. I don't have a.
You don't have the bottom?
No, I don't. It's just there. It's cool, man. I'm a homebody now. I stay at home Monday through Friday for the most part, and then wrestle Friday through Sunday, and then repeat. Do my normal job, and then do my real job, professional wrestling after that.
So typically, like you said, Friday through Sunday you're wrestling.
Yeah.
Where were you Friday and Saturday?
This week was an easy week for us. It was SWF down in Tullahoma, Tennessee, and that's like a local show, and it's cool. It's got a good mix of like talent from like local guys, like 40 Mile guys who are like breaking in or local legends, and then like IWA Mid South guys who used to work for them, and some IWA Deep South guys. Chase Owens was there the other night. He just got back from New Japan. He's cool. Sigmund and Elliott Russell, they just won the NWA World Heavyweight Tag Team titles.
I think I just saw that as well.
Yeah, Siggy's cool, man.
I saw somebody. It might have been Yukon actually post about it.
Yeah, man, they're good. They're good dudes, man. So it's like a good mix of talent, but they want to see wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to see professional wrestling. They want to see wrestling.
South.
Yeah, they want to see like old USWA Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee stuff, and
I'm surprised that's still a thing that people are really, really like stoked on in a certain
Yeah.
People in the
especially
South
like just
love wrestling.
it's just because of how things have evolved everywhere else, but that's just the one spot where it's like, slow it down, brother.
Yeah, put them in and work a hold, kid.
Doing too much.
Well, like that's like your basic building blocks of all of wrestling. I was trained by Dutch Mantel, Zeb Coulter, the WWE Southern legend, world famous booker, booked for TNA, Puerto Rico with huge ratings. He told me once, so like Lucha Libre is real popular in Mexico. Catch as Catch Can is real popular in British, Strong Style, Kings of Road Style is popular in Japan. And you can go to some places and do that style and it won't work.
Yeah.
You can wrestle Memphis anywhere. And people will understand it and they'll respond to it. Whether it's good or bad, they'll be able to process it and give you an emotional reaction towards that. Yeah. WWE main event style, you'll hear people use that phrase. That's basic building blocks came from Memphis. A lot of people don't know this. USWA was the first unofficial, official developmental. People had to go through Memphis to get to the WWE. And of course, later they had places like Deep South and, FCW and NXT and OVW,
like
ECW being another unofficial, official place to go to get.
Speaking of, not to cut you off, but farm feds, Triple H, he openly stated that he, what was the name? Literally is on the tip of my tongue.
Is it Evolve?
I think it was Evolve.
Yeah. Like they're like,
he just shouted out Evolve.
Yeah, it's weird what they're kind of doing now. It's like he also said they would be willing to work with New Japan some more because of
smart.
Japan's over. Yeah, but that's just kind of crazy to think about where it's headed now with all that compared to like 3 years ago.
Well, think about this: like TNA had Tommaso Ciampa on a show while he was at NXT. While Tommaso Ciampa was still wrestling on the indies. That's a good time to be an independent wrestler.
Yeah, it's way better now than it was probably not even really like a year ago compared to and it's kind of strange, like, because wasn't it last year AJ Styles when he left, they were like, we're not looking for anyone in TNA, and then all of a sudden Samoa Joe's there and
he broke that
James Storm which I'm kind of I'm glad he's there. I'm kind of irritated that he was like, no, I wasn't at that NXT show, because it makes everybody seem like they're stupid because they saw him. Like, he could have just said, I'm there to watch, or I'm going to see one of my buddies. You don't have to. Everybody's going to speculate anyways.
Right, but it's one of those things, like, a lot of social media is such a double-edged sword. I was telling this to Jesse, you might have a guy that, without using names, like, let's say a guy and maybe his friend or his brother used to wrestle for the WWE, and then let's say he wrestles for a rival company, and he says, oh man, they did this bad, and then they did this good. If he says they did something bad and just being honest about his opinion, oh, he's just bitter, he's not there. Yeah. But if he says, oh man, they did really cool, like this really awesome thing, oh, he's just kissing butt to get back there.
Yeah.
And so, like,
can't win.
Yeah, you can't win. I'm happy for James, man.
He's busted his ass for a long time.
Yeah, and to me, like, I remember years ago, everyone was like, oh, beer money's going to go. Oh, they won't touch him because of TNA. But, man, like, cool for him. He's getting paid. And he's like, I'm sure it's like a light schedule for him, whatever he may end up doing,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Chris Harrison WWE for a second?
Braden Walker, you went at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Didn't he have just like a weird... It was like a super weird gimmick for him, wasn't it?
Where it was just like, well, he came in, he looked like he wasn't in normal Chris Harris shape, is how I'll phrase it, and he had a weird name and a weird gimmick, and he didn't have a trench coat, and he wasn't country.
But didn't he have to his whole thing was like calling himself Braden Walker, or I'm mixing that up with something else.
It might have been.
It was something. It was something really weird.
That's to show you how bad that whole experience was that you can't remember. Yeah,
you know what exactly.
I mean? Just literally just a flash in the pan.
No money.
At least if it was really bad, you'd be like, "Oh God, you remember this?"
Yeah, yeah. It's just there and gone, and you don't remember it.
He still does indies every now and then. He pops up. The place I wrestled last night out of Corbin, Kentucky, either was going to use him and he couldn't make it or something, but he was advertised for a while.
In the year 2015 and beyond, I won't be surprised if anyone ends up anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
At this point, it's just pregame.
It's a great time to be a wrestler.
Right, and it's cool because like for so long, like it's hard. You think about like hundreds of thousands of independent professional wrestlers will never get a shot because on WWE there's only like 60 spots, you know, and out of those 60 spots, maybe 30 of them are used regularly on TV. Out of those 30 spots, only maybe 10 of them are being featured and getting a push or a storyline. And out of that, maybe 2 or 3 of them are legit main eventers, you know?
It's like that talk we had earlier at Shoney's, like, the time when there were 5, 6 interchangeable top guys, like, that's not going to happen again.
And it's really frustrating to me how they do that with WWE again. I'm going to go off on a little tangent. They've got such a big roster, and they've got all those people in developmental. Why do I have to watch Sheamus not have any sort of place when he's the guy that's holding the Money in the Bank title and he's supposed to potentially be your next champion?
Yeah.
But he's like
Just
wrestling.
floating around.
Yeah, he's floating. He's wrestling like 2-second matches. And why do I have to watch Roman Reigns versus the Wyatts every week if they're in a feud? Like, feed someone up like that Scott Dawson guy or someone like that. Like, get them out there. They see their face. They maybe get beat in like 2 minutes by Neville or Sheamus or somebody, but it's not them beating the same person forever.
Yeah.
And then when they come back, there's an ease up into the system, and it's like,
Absolutely.
we know that guy. He's been here toiling it out for a while, and now he's working his way up. I don't understand why they don't do that anymore.
I really miss the days of enhancement guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
when you
dude.
used to watch, like, Shotgun Saturday Night or Heat or, you know, whatever, and you just get, like, some random indie
The
guy.
Hardy Boys,
Yeah,
you know, like
Well, hell,
Christopher Daniels on Velocity, dragging on Velocity.
Velocity.
yeah,
Great.
Velocity was the best one. Yeah, Brian was there. Who else? I've seen like the most random people on
YouTube's
Velocity.
Velocity.
There's like John Moxley with long pink hair on there. Like,
I had like almost all of Velocity on like recorded. I would obsessively record wrestling
Yep.
every time it was on when I was in middle school. So
I used to
I
have
have
a ridiculous
just
tape collection.
tapes of stuff, and I know I taped over like some stuff that I thought was just crappy.
yeah.
I would just tape over it with one of the pay-per-views.
Ryan
actually-
and Kendrick were killing it on Velocity
Yeah.
every week, man.
I actually used to look forward to those shows just to see, like, because that's when I was going to TNA a lot, when it was at the fairgrounds, and then going to USA Championship Wrestling. So, like, if they were in Nashville, you never know who you're going to see on there. So that was always cool.
And yeah, oh god, there's a match with Benoit and Regal on Velocity that is brutal. Like they just beat the piss out of each other.
Man, it's so scary watching the WWE Network and watching his descent into madness. Like little by
Yeah.
little, like you're like, what year did this happen? Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
we're a month out before he
Yeah.
just snaps.
man, it's rough, man. Like I can talk for an hour just
Yeah.
on that because
We'll-
like I
we'll
mean,
leave that one.
and we'll never know. Like they never found a cell phone, you know.
No.
Like
There's so many
there's
theories.
always that doubt, you know,
Yeah.
about someone, you know.
So many theories.
That's aliens.
It was aliens,
killed
yeah,
Chris
man.
Benoit.
It was like American Horror Story, dude. Season 2, aliens came down and got him.
What was that? It was Mordecai. What was that guy's name?
Kevin Thorne, he became
Yeah,
Kevin
Kevin
after
Thorne.
that,
Dude,
yeah.
it was him. His evil ways.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be out of left field, but I've been watching a shit ton of Lucha Underground lately.
Yeah.
Something that I completely forgot about because it's not on WWE television anymore. I saw a chair shot to the head and cringed.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I used to watch like a bunch of CZW stuff, and I was just like, oh, fucking weed whackers, you know,
Yeah.
getting thrown off buildings, and you're just like, see a chair shot to the head, and maybe it's like the fucking concussion that I've had now, but I was just like, oh god.
Well, like,
Yeah, it kind of upset me. I think that was one of the things that I was like turned off from Lucha Underground. I was like, why do you take a chair shot to the head? Why
I
are they
loved
doing that?
It was necessary. Like it wasn't ill timed or anything.
was his hands up? Or
No,
anything?
he straight took it.
man.
I don't remember who it was, but it was.
Well, that was that. Was it in that? Did you watch the season finale? Because I
Ultimate Lucha?
yeah,
Yeah.
like Vampiro versus.
that
was
was
amazing.
yeah.
That was the one where I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I just listened on the way back from Atlanta. On the way to Atlanta, I listened to Vampiro on Steve Austin's podcast.
Crazy. It's awesome, isn't it?
Dude, anything that Vampiro is on and talks about, I will listen. I listened to him on another podcast like maybe almost a year ago. And he talks about all his Milli Vanilli stuff.
Was it with Kevin Gill?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've wrestled he's one of the guys backstage for JCW. We wrestled for the Clowns one time. Never thought I'd say that.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, man, I wrestled for ICP. It was.
I hear they're nice. I hear they're nice people.
I didn't meet Shaggy P though. Violent J was just like chilling back there, but like it was up at Rockstar Pro, which CZW runs shows out of Ohio there sometimes. It was crazy because we had just gotten done off this like massive run for IWA Mid-South. And we went out there and like, you know, we're at the time we're doing the boy and his dog and stuff, and like we're not Target.
Where is Nick?
Nick? Oh, Knoxville. Being silly. Yeah. Nicksville. Like he only had an hour and a half drive. I had 3 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
But we went out there and like I get it, like JCW, they don't want to see kid friendly stuff.
Yeah.
So we come out of the curtain and the first thing I hear is, "Fuck you motherfuckers, go back to eating rottens." Alright, well we're bad guys. I'm just gonna scare the clowns. Fuck y'all to you. It was us, the Ring Riders, Aaron Williams, who was in Best of the Best this year for CZW. I think his partner is Nate Wing, maybe. And then Facade and John Gory in like a little 4-way. It was pretty cool, man. But just being at JCW crowd, I remember, dude, it was hysterical because it's like you're out there and like your match comes out and then all of a sudden like it was only when the matches would start like you just smell pot like just like you know it was like a Guns N' Roses concert or like you know like all right guys Corn's in the stage and he just hits you and you're like oh god whoa all right this is gonna be one of these nights.
I can't
Necro Butcher. Dylan, Necro Butcher.
Words are pretty hard.
Yeah, I struggle sometimes. Necro Butcher and Rude Boy like killed themselves almost in this match. Just
Necro Butcher's fucking insane.
yeah, he's cool, man. I've
got
had
the
beers with
wrestler
him.
who's in the wrestler. So
He's
got a claim to fame.
Dude, he's like laid back though. He's like, hey man.
I can't picture him being any other way.
Yeah, he's just talking like this. And
He's
Necro's
smart as
cool.
shit.
Yeah, man, he's a smart guy. What were we talking about? Oh, ICB. We were talking about Kevin Gill went to ICB.
Yeah.
Let's all just take a moment to appreciate that this was a moment in time. ICP, Vampiro, Muda, and Sting as the Deadpool. That happened at WCW. That was a stable for a second. That was a lot of face paint going on.
Yeah. Face paint sales definitely spiked.
ICP went like they worked WWE as like
They
a
did the
group
big
too.
three, didn't they?
They
Yeah.
did the oddities. They did that SummerSlam. They're coming out swinging their arms up and down, making me
Mike
uncomfortable.
Awesome threw Shaggy 2 Dope off the bus.
Whoop, 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 man. Family.
Floor.
Our buddies, our rivals / like some of our best friends in the business, the Hooligans. They were like the JCW tag teams for a minute the other day.
I enjoy watching those guys a lot.
Devin and Mason, man, I've had stories. I got stories, man.
Stories.
I may never make $1 million in wrestling, although if someone wants to pay me to make $1 million in wrestling, I will. But I got stories for a scrapbook that I don't even know. The Hooligan pit stop being like my favorite. Go into the bathroom, and then I come out, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? Oh, just pissing on the handles, the soap, the floor, the trash can, anything that people touch.
That's awful.
Because they're hooligans.
Yeah, man.
But to be fair, I was in a Hobby Lobby like 2 weeks ago, and their bathroom was disgusting, so I pissed in the trash can for
Hell yeah.
both women's rights and gun control, and also because it's just unacceptable that those people are paid like over $10 an hour to work at a Hobby Lobby and they have such a disgusting bathroom. I won't stand for it.
Yeah, you gotta revolt on it.
I won't stand for their terrible principles.
One time, me and Rudolph, the American Viking, he's part of the Viking War Party. He lives up in St. Louis, the Hooligan stuff. He's like super over, awesome dude. We're in a one-mater. It was like Tennessee to Chicago to St. Louis to San Antonio, Texas on a 4-day stretch. And it was god awful. Like none of us slept. It was crazy. Like all of us are exhausted. We get to where we're dropping off Rudolph, and like we all got to poop, but we're just like not quite there. And we stop at the Shell station. And it's a one-manor. Doors on the outside of the building. And I'm like, fuck this. I'm going first. It's my car. I've driven the longest. Fuck y'all. I'm pooping. And Rudolph goes, fuck you. And so Rudolph literally shit in a trash can next to me. Oh, we're pooping. We're just talking. He's taking a fat dump, man. God.
This is going to be a weird question, but it's something that I stress about because I'm a weird human being. But when you go on like trips and stuff, do you take like baby wipes, like the butt wipes, or are you just straight toilet paper? Okay.
Oh, but no, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Kerry's a man that likes to treat himself.
Iggy has like, because like baby wipes, butt wipes serve a multitude of purposes.
Yeah.
So,
To
like,
shower.
yeah, if I can't take a shower, baby wiping it.
Yeah.
If the toilet paper's one ply, I'll be like, hey, babe, please tell me you have your bag in here. Throw it under, boom.
Yeah.
It's just, you need to learn how to, like, survive on, like, little tricks and stuff. Like,
Yeah. Because
or,
I can't stand just, like, I hate public restrooms anyways because,
Yeah, I'm
of course,
disgusting.
yeah.
I'll do it.
I just can't stand it. I'll do it if I
It will
have to.
change
I
me.
just can't stand it. But, I mean, if you're on the road, you have to. So.
yeah, you don't have an option,
Yeah,
man.
but I remember I went to Disney World and I had to poop at the Magic Kingdom, and it was like the biggest
Not
nightmare
magical
of
at
all
all.
time. It was breakfast time too, and I was just like, oh no.
yeah, it's horrible, man. I went to Disney World with my fiance. Her sister was getting married at the time. We've been dating for like 6 months. I was like chewing tobacco while I was inside of the Magic Kingdom, and I wasn't thinking, and I was talking, and I lifted up thinking it was water for a second. I was like, oh, it's not water, and spill it down my entire t-shirt.
Oh no.
So I smell like grizzly wintergreen the entire time I'm in there. Not once did it go through my head to say, I'm in the fucking Magic Kingdom. Why didn't I just not buy a t-shirt and wear it?
Yeah, you had an option to like
You
change
had to
it.
teach yourself a lesson
I
at that point.
sat in my filth for 7 hours.
Or like there's that one like 15 minutes in every afternoon where it's just pouring down rain that you could have stood out there and just let it like wipe you
Nature
away.
shower.
Right, I just sat there. Dude, I looked like a slob. They probably thought I was like playing the hobo in the Notre Dame. Hunchback of Notre Dame, brother.
Quasimodo, man.
Yeah, that's a gimmick, brother. Sells tickets. He's got a hunchback and he swings on shit. He's a flyer.
Little spot monkey.
God. Quasimodo, the spot monkey.
You ever see him jump up with a double stomp? It'll kill you. Watch it. Yeah, man.
Rolling senton off the top, and he hits you with his hunch.
He's a wild man. He's got this valet, but this other guy's trying to get his valet. His valet. That's my valet's gimmick, valet.
If there's a cartoonish wrestling company out there, please use Quasimodo hitting you with his hunchback.
Yes.
Dude,
Off the
I
top rope
would
with a
love it.
senton, because
Yes.
that'd be awesome.
I always wanted to do this alternate gimmick called Sailor Kerry, where I was a drunk tattooed sailor and never got the chance to do it. Brother, drunk Sailor Kerry come to the ring, I was just going to be shipwrecked from G.I. Joe, including with melting parrot and hallucinations. That's not my family! Oh man, Sailor Kerry's real drunk tonight, isn't he, folks?
That's when you get the good stuff, though.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. So you were trained by Dutch Mantel.
Yeah.
How, what year was that? It was how many years has it been now?
I've been wrestling for like 4 or 5.
Yeah, and I mean, you did stuff like before that, so it's not
Yeah.
like you're like completely new, but it's like what, backyard stuff?
Yeah, like
For fun.
with old righteous Jesse over here, and
Real homemade ring.
yeah, man, it was crazy. It was fun. Not a lot, just like dicking off while drinking and stuff.
We
And
didn't dive into it like we did.
no, that's true.
CZW changed my life for the worst.
Yeah.
Nick Mondo.
Oh, DJ Hyde, brother, the
I
lawyer.
looked up to that Nick Mondo.
Nick Mondo, he has a documentary on YouTube that's real good.
Unscarred?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
Surprise.
Dutch was cool, man, because I grew up watching USWA, so I knew who he was. He doesn't remember it, of course, because like how many people do like wrestlers talk to you in a day? I would stay up to 3 a.m. to watch Music City Wrestling, right? It's like him and Les Thatcher were doing it, and it'd be on like NBC or whatever, and he had his email address. Hey, got ideas for the show? Questions about the show? Instant message, Sozio Dutch, which is what Dutch instead of Dirty Dutch, he was Sozio Dutch in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So I talked to him on the internet, and I may or may not have been him, but that's what they advertised. And I asked him, hey, was this your screen name? Oh, fucking what? Screen name? Oh, man, motherfucker. Yeah. And
Internet's at work.
I went in there originally to train and had my tryout and paid my tryout fee. And, he wants me to go to school, and all I did was, like, squat my balls off and break my back to trying to learn how to bump and puke and vomit and sweat. And I waited a couple months after that because I didn't know if I wanted to do it. Dutch would just call me and talk wrestling. Hey, you gonna join my school yet? No, Dutch, I don't think I am. How about those machine gun guys, huh? Oh, I don't know what we're gonna do with them. I don't know either, Dutch.
So this is when he was booking for TNA? Or
No, he was
TNA?
still in contact with them,
Okay.
like from what I understood. But you don't know.
I feel like Dutch is one of those guys that's pretty much good anywhere he goes.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
He's welcome.
I trained with him. Jeremiah Riggs' best friend. He wasn't tough enough that one season. He was training my best friend from high school, Matt. Lindemuth was there, and he had a couple other guys that would come and go or whatever. And I was always like the run of the litter. Like I knew like in my head, like, I felt like I was doing stuff right, but it wasn't, you know? But, like, it was like Dr. Cox and JD from Scrubs, you know? Like, JD would be, like, a good guy and do whatever he could and kept seeking that approval, and Dr. Cox would be like, Nancy, what are you doing, you know?
Yeah.
Or you call him some other name, like, oh, good job, Elizabeth, don't cry.
Yeah.
Oh, you saved someone's life, it's your job. Someone throw him a ticker tape parade.
Yeah.
But it made me work harder, and, like, harder than I ever thought. My original goal in wrestling was to have, like, one match. You know, if I had one match, then I lived my childhood dream.
Yeah.
And then one match became 2 matches, and then within a year, I was on local television. And
Was that
like,
for Saul?
it was for Saw, yeah, man. Got my first belt, got the NWA Southern Tag Team Championship.
There you go.
Yeah, man. Like, I was an NWA champion. Like, I never thought I'd see that. You know?
Which a lot of people forget how cool that really is.
Yeah, man.
Like NWA is the fucking NWA. Like,
yeah, like that's the staple of wrestling,
Yeah.
you know? And so, like, to have, like, a Southern belt, like, not just, like, you know, the Tennessee champion. No, I was, like, a Southern tag
champion
team.
of the
Yeah.
South, yeah.
You could go anywhere.
Right.
From Louisiana to
Yeah, from Florida to
Carolina,
Kentucky,
brother.
yeah. And then, like, you know, then that was enough. I started traveling, and it started with, like, just Kentucky, and then it just snowballs and goes, and then, you know, I was on DVD covers for some companies, and started teaming with Nick, you know, a little bit before all that, and then somehow ended up at Resistance Pro for Billy Corgan, somehow went to IWA Mid-South with Ian Rotten, which, like, to me, on, like, 56K modems and, like, cable modem when it was still kind of slow, like, taking 3 days to download a CM Punk vs. Chris Hero clip, you know, like, oh, I'll never make it there. And you think about IWA Mid-South, like, say what you will about Ian Rotten, like, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, Chris Hero, Punk, Super Dragon, you know, Quackenbush, Cannon. Like, it's if you were of that time period, of that generation of amazing indie legends now, like, you worked there, you know? We had that Beyond Wrestling, like, Beyond Wrestling helped us out a lot, even though we don't work for them anymore.
Just to backtrack to IWA, Mid-South, I remember Brett Eisen telling me that he had his tryout match.
Yeah.
And we thought it was, like, the coolest thing in the world because we would literally just sit on, like, Kroger or Food Line. We'd read, like, PWI or, like, whatever wrestling magazine we could get. And IWA Mid-South, Ring of Honor, they were all there.
Yeah,
so
man.
Literally, you don't think about that stuff.
It was a super indie. It is a super indie, you know? Like, my buddy Isaiah was former IWA champ, recently been there forever. He was just on Raw as, like, one of the EMTs with Kane, and did a loop for the WWE. You know, and it's just like, you meet guys, like, there's so many things, like, that you're not prepared for when you get into wrestling, too. And I'm, like, this is a tangent or whatever, like, it's so crazy, like, some of the people you meet, like, meeting Pondo and, like, you know, shooting the shit with Jeff Jarrett when he was at IWA that one time. And
which is still weird to think
about. Yeah, man, that was a thing. Filming a promo with Shane Helms to sell my comic book, you know, like, I got to do that while he's dressed up as the Hurricane.
So did he get to keep that gimmick? Was that, like, his?
No,
I
but
think he tweaked the name, didn't he?
It's Hurricane Helms, but, like,
okay.
There's ways around things, and, like, the other thing is, if you're cool with the Fed, you know.
Yeah, they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Be as, like, I'm sure it's different now because they want to, like, latch on to everything, which is weird when they change, like, the interviewers' names and stuff like that. That's a little overboard, like that Renee Young in WWE.
Yeah.
Like, that's not her real name.
Well, like Drake Younger, you know, legend on the Indies, an awesome guy. Drake Younger is my. We'd pick him up. When he was doing PWG in California and, like, Hood Slam and flying all over the country to wrestle. Before he was a referee at NXT, when he was still doing his rounds, we'd pick him up at the Nashville airport and get to pick his brain. Yeah. Hey, man, how'd you get to Germany? Hey, what's a good way to get into this place or this place? You want to talk about one of the nicest dudes, loves PMA. PMA all day, man. Yeah. Never thought I'd meet Drake, and Drake's cool. Like, hadn't heard from him in a while, but, you know, he's busy. He just, you know, he's got 2 kids now. But he hit me up, like, once or twice after he got signed, and it's like, man, he took time out of his day. Like, that guy's a made man.
Yeah. That's awesome. What was it? A little over a week ago, he was, the NXT came to Nashville, and we were watching it, and Bailey wrestled a match, and afterwards she was going and hugging everybody. And what's that fucking band, Bring Me the Horizon?
Sleeping with Sirens.
No, it wasn't Sleeping with Sirens, was it? whoever's doing the NXT music right now, like the big thing, they were up front, and as Bailey was walking by, one of the dudes like tried to like hug her, but like grabbed her. Drake was on him so fucking quick. It was awesome.
Yeah, Drake's cool.
Yeah,
man.
You know that guy had no idea who
Yeah,
Drake
he's
Younger
like,
was.
he didn't know. He's just like, I'm just singing my fucking rad songs. I'm Warped Tour Trap God, and here we are. Here we are about to get our asses beat by a wrestler because we don't know.
And he
Dude,
probably
respect
literally had
people.
no idea who Drake Younger was. Drake Younger probably just put him in the ground.
Man, you know, here's a crazy. Speaking about just music, I think he played guitar. I can't remember his name. The guitarist from Daggermouth's a pro wrestler out in California.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Dude,
I can't remember his name. I'm gonna say it's not Kenneth Lash. It's something though.
Speaking of like that type of music and stuff, did you ever hear that band Boys No Good? They was like,
Florida?
yeah, they're from Florida. That was like dude from either Kids Like Us or Casey Jones or something like that.
Yeah,
was
it was one of the
fronted
two.
the band. You would like them, I think.
Oh, dude,
if you
yeah,
have
I'd like to check
Spotify,
it
look
out.
them up. Yeah,
Right on. What's it called?
Boys No Good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll totally check it out.
Yeah, they
man.
played Clarksville one time. They did a Mighty Mighty Boss Tones like pop punk cover. It was sick.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
dude. Right
But
on.
that just made me think of that, and I needed to recommend that to you. Which leads me to another question, real quick, just a quick one, and I might ask this to anybody we ever interview, but I already know the answer to it. But can you outmosh Seth Rollins?
Oh man. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, everyone at this table can.
I'd look. He'd out wrestle me.
Yeah,
I'd see him in the pit, bro.
yeah.
I'd be
think
like Michael
it's
Jackson and that bitch dancing all over the place.
There's a difference between the ring and the pit, and
There's a time and place for everything.
yeah, and the pit becomes real life.
Yeah,
and
dude.
CrossFit can't save you.
God, I don't know, man. He's a freak of
Yeah,
nature
I don't
with his-
understand. Yeah, he makes me like. Anytime I've ever made fun or joked about CrossFit, like whenever I watch a Seth Rollins match, I'm just like, I'm a piece of shit. He and Cesaro know what they're doing. They know everything. I'm just an
that
idiot.
Phoenix Splash where he rolls through back to his feet right into another deal.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
fucking suplex off the top, roll through
Yeah,
to a
Falcon Arrow.
Falcon Arrow. Like,
Yeah,
good
man.
lord. On John Cena, who's like,
That big dude.
Yeah, he's not
270,
small,
He
yeah.
used to like. Yeah, Seth Rollins. You have a mosh abilities. Like,
No.
oh God, dude.
No.
Even down like FCW when I'd see clips, I'd be like, brother, no. Like,
Yeah, like,
Don't
stop
do
it.
They don't get it.
Stop it.
I used to do a double stomp when I first started. I would use the double stomp quite a bit, and I was a lot skinnier then. But I always wanted to call it the posse jump double stomp because I'd always try to touch the toes
Yeah.
and send it
Dude,
in.
if I wrestled, all my finishes would be just rip-offs of fucking hardcore band names.
Oh, dude.
Oh, always.
Just all of them.
I
Earth
feel like-
Crisis, Down to Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
right on.
I feel
man.
like this conversation should really have a bit of a backstory to it, or just kind of let people know where we're coming from. We're all just like tattooed, dirty punk kids.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hardcore,
I
crust.
met both of these guys through bands and music and stuff and going to shows, and then just happened to wear wrestling t-shirts not knowing
Yeah,
that like
dude.
we were into wrestling, and then it's just
I'm actually
game on.
pretty sure I met Kerry at some show at the Anchor, and the first conversation we had was about wrestling.
Yeah,
It sounds about
most
right.
likely. Like, the world's parallel each, and like, I know it's like a trendy thing, like for hardcore gets to like wrestling now,
Yeah.
but y'all like wrestling. you
Yeah,
know?
before, yeah, when it was the fat weird kid dressing. I in middle school wore the green Hardy Boys T-shirt,
God
and then
damn right.
I bought black jeans with the white like stuff on
Really?
it just to look like it. No one got it,
Dude,
and I'm so upset with myself now because as an adult, like I wish because when was that? It was like
You wish you would have dyed your hair to get the whole on.
No, I don't
I did
know.
the multiple colors.
I wish that it was like because when was that? That was like 2001, 2002 ish. Like when did I wish I had seen more like independent wrestling at that time, so that I wasn't like
Yeah.
a Hardy Boys mark, so that I wouldn't have done that to myself. Because a lot of times you see stuff from them now, and you're like, man, I loved them, and they're kind of like awful.
No, man, like, I don't know.
Like not in their wrestling, but like as people, like just some of the stuff they've done, which I feel like they're getting back on track. But then like Matt Hardy like threw some shade at NXT in the women main eventing, like, oh, they always treated the knockouts well. Like, yeah, just cut down two people that live their dream. That's cool. That has nothing to do with the company doing it, but
Yeah,
whatever.
he's got to take care of his, like, vested interest, and,
Yeah.
like, that's the other thing. Like, WWE still mentions Matt Hardy, and,
Yeah.
like, Matt Hardy, I've been in locker rooms with Matt Hardy, and he's always been super cool.
Yeah.
But then like, it gets the dirt sheets, man. You never know, like, is it fact? Is it real?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's right on the nose. Sometimes it's out of ballpark. But yeah, man, the internet's tricky, man.
Well, yeah. When I see it like directly coming from them is when that's kind of the thing about it. Like,
you're just like, oh fuck, yeah.
Don't say that.
Man,
don't be that guy.
I had my Jinkos as a kid, and I didn't. Every photo in middle school, speaking of middle school, was just me with the guns. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh my god, the 8th grade graduation, I wore my "Screw the Rules, Play the Game" shirt as like being a badass because I hated middle school so much.
In middle school, a kid got suspended for wearing the Kurt Angle "You Suck" shirt.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's one shirt that I don't have that I wish I did. I want a Kurt Angle. I never had Kurt Angle merchandise, I don't think, other than every single action figure that he had.
I've got something. Do y'all remember Kenny's Crib on the internet? Did y'all ever know what that was? Kenny's Crib were the people who made the South Park wrestlers. And all it was is you'd go to the website and you'd click on a faction or an organization, and it'd be like Cartman is Stone Cold and stuff like that.
I remember that. That was such a big thing. Like watching that, those freaking signs. Like everybody's got a Cartman as a wrestler sign. It's so weird. Man. And it's like,
that back. And 4 Perez signs. I miss 4 Perez signs.
Bischoff 4 Perez.
Oh,
Perez. Oh my God, what was it? John Cena takes bubble baths with who was it? What's his name? It was a football player. It was a football player. It was the old man who had the sign too. Oh, what's his name for the Patriots? Tom Brady.
There was a sign one time.
John Cena takes bubble baths with Tom Brady. That's my favorite one lately.
Did you see the one where it was like from Mania in Atlanta a couple years ago? John Cena, please do a Dragon Rana. Hey, let's take a moment. John Cena's U.S. title run's pretty dope, right?
Yeah.
Making guys left and right.
Yeah, I hope he puts over Big E. I know they're like Ziggler's gonna get it. Big E, I want Big E to get it.
Do you guys remember? I don't know if you were there, but when Big E won the Intercontinental,
I wasn't there, but I watched. He was over.
That place erupted.
Man, think about this. Big E, Xavier Woods from Atlanta. He's a Southern guy,
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston on Raw the other night. They laid out Cena. They laid out Ziggler, and they laid out the Dudleys.
Yeah.
Some of the top guys, and they were on the top, and the last thing you saw was them celebrating at Raw.
Yeah.
The New Day. Awesome.
Yeah. And I was a fan when everyone was shitting on them, like from the get-go, where they're like, this isn't going to work. I was like, it's going to be awesome. I like it. They're getting booed out of Philadelphia. I'm like, I don't care. I like them.
It's going to turn around.
And they're the biggest thing on there. And since Big E came around, I was like, that guy's got it. He's going to be something. Mm-hmm. And apparently, what they wrote online and all that stuff was like the Roman Reigns push was from Triple H, which good for that guy too. They messed it up. But I don't have a problem with him. I think he's a more than competent wrestler, and he's getting better and better as it goes. And like, there's no reason to send him any backlash now.
Yeah, man.
But
he handled it all like a champ.
Yeah, he took it.
Yeah, he had an uphill battle being in a group with Rollins and Ambrose with the internet because it's like they were
internet darlings.
Yeah, man.
And they're like, oh, he's from NXT. He wrestled a match on NXT television, like I remember. But apparently, it was like Vince was big on Big E, from what they said, and he wanted him to be his guy. And that like got put away. I'm hoping now that kind of comes to fruition because one, it's 2015. There ought to be like an African American champion by now. Like everybody's like, well, The Rock, but it's kind of. But when you look at The Rock, you think that's a big Samoan dude.
Yeah,
like, you don't think
when you think of like African American
is Rocky Johnson,
you think of Ron Simmons.
Yeah, there's not been a WWE one. I don't know. Maybe Kevin Dunn's racist. I'm throwing that out there now. Put that out into the internet universe.
Man, it's just I wish wrestling was like comic books and you could see what if stories and like Elseworlds. Like what if in a world Shawn Michaels had went to WCW?
Well, it's almost like that. It's weird because it's like you can kind of do that in a way because you're going to see matches that you wouldn't have expected to see. Like you're not going to see Sting versus Seth Rollins and then there it is. Like that happened, but. Also, I'm so glad that Hulk Hogan's basically been exterminated, like just gone, because he's the worst.
Terrible human being.
Just awful.
Right, it's pretty well known that wrestlers are pretty shitty people in general.
Yeah.
But Hulk Hogan
is just awful.
Yeah.
Just an awful guy. You know what? In my personal opinion, Benoit had one bad day. Hulk Hogan's had a lot of bad days. I would rather go to dinner with Chris Benoit than Hulk Hogan on like the last week of Benoit's life.
The table of 3 on the network for that one. You, Benoit, and Hogan.
Check, please.
Have y'all watched that show yet?
It's great.
Awesome. The Ryback one, just the fact that Daniel Bryan just bullies him all the time is my favorite.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh God, it's so funny. He used to ride with Ryback. He calls him the Ryback all the time.
I heard about the Panera story.
Yeah, and then he just him and Cody Rhodes apparently took Ryback to Panera, and Ryback didn't know what to order and threw a fit. And when you're watching it, and I've been this guy before. You ever had a conversation where you've got that friend that everybody knows that they can get it out of him, so they're just picking on him and just defending himself and getting so upset? Yeah, that's Ryback, and it was awesome. It's so good. That one, and then they had the one with Ambrose and Cesaro and Owens.
I've got to check that one out.
That one's good.
I watched
that
the
show's
New
awesome.
Day one. The New Day one was really good.
Yeah, that show, WWE, the network, if you like wrestling, is the best.
And I like that there's more network deals coming out. Like we were talking earlier, like Chikara, and then CZW Studios, and there's another one.
The New Japan World is the best one. It's all, which apparently they're broadcasting one in English. One of their shows. I guess Kevin Kelly and Matt Stryker are on it.
Awesome.
Which I would rather. Yeah, I would rather just keep it. I don't mind listening to the Japanese commentary because you watch a New Japan match, you know what's going on. You know who's good and who's bad and what's happening, and it's just
universal language of wrestling.
It's not hard to figure out what's going on. I can't always say that in Lucha Libre. I get so mixed up.
Well, the structure and stuff it's like opera, man. You can watch an opera in pure Italian, but you understand what's going on. Kevin Kelly, man. So we did security for Ring of Honor one time. And this was my big takeaway with Kevin Kelly. It was cool, cool experience, especially getting to talk to Carino for as much as I did, and a couple of the other guys and the stuff, that was just a cool moment that a lot of guys get to have, but a lot of guys don't get to have that.
Yeah.
But Kevin Kelly comes in and he's got a giant XFL varsity jacket on.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, this is how does he have this?
How do I get one?
Condition. Give it to me.
Well, he worked there then.
Yeah.
So, that's just awesome. They still wear it.
Oh, it was fly too. It was clean. It looked brand new.
Gosh.
I would like to think it was the only one, but who knows? He might have a closet of them.
Get it custom made.
Yeah.
You might just have those people have a bearer jackets.
Oh God, I wish it said Big Kev on the back.
Oh, that'd be sweet, man.
Yeah.
How are the rules legs about you flip the coin and then you run to the ball and that was a thing.
It could have been so great. It really could have. And I don't even like football, but
they tried, man.
They did.
Vince McMahon will try anything.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
He will.
I've never got to meet him, man, but one day in passing, I just want to hear it who are you, man, Go from there with it.
So speaking of, since you work security at Ring of Honor and stuff, obviously every wrestler, if they get into the business, 9 times out of 10, end goal, if they really want to, is work, WWE because it's the biggest game. What are you trying to do right now, you and Nick, in terms, do you take it a show at a time, or is there a goal right now, a federation that you want to go to? Or
there's always
company?
Goals. If you're not pursuing goals, you're just treading water, right?
Well, yeah.
So either do stuff to make yourself better, or don't wrestle. You know? For me, like I was talking about earlier, I always have a progression. I wanted TV, got on TV, wanted to be on TVs, did that, did internet pay-per-views, did that. Travel, that was a big thing for me, was to travel, to learn from as many people, different styles, different, techniques, Southern legends, indie darlings, I got to have a match with Homicide and B-Boy,
that's awesome.
Yeah, he's getting ready to, I had one of those, weird out-of-body experiences where it's, because I always loved Homicide, and he kicked me, and I was getting ready to get hooked up in the cop killer, and I was like, my life is happening.
This is my life.
If I would have told, 14-year-old or 15-year-old Kerry Awful, we went to the asylum on Wednesday nights in high school, that Homicide was going to hook me up, wow,
Full circle.
Yeah, luckily Nick was there with a bicycle kick, so I didn't take the move.
Oh.
Terrified. I was terrified of that move.
So, you and Nick, how did Team IOU happen?
Well, this will actually play into the other question here.
Okay.
This will we'll be able to merge these into one.
Okay.
I believe that in wrestling's a buffet, a Chinese buffet, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's a Chinese buffet,
There's still pizza.
There's still pizza.
Yeah.
There's a place for salad, and there's a place for soup and dessert and Chinese food. There is a room for, let's say, 6 matches on a card.
Mhm.
There's the heavyweight title, the secondary title. That's 2 of them. So now you have 4 matches. Almost nobody does a full-time tag team. You don't see tag team wrestling like that.
Yeah.
And it sucks because, like,
Tag team wrestling rules.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely, like,
It's a way to get more exposure for more people.
well, not only that, like, if wrestling's an art form and we're having a match and I'm using the color red and you're using the color blue, we can make a cool picture using red and blue. Well, let's add in green and let's add in yellow. Now we've got a real crazy picture going on. And there's that suspense of that tag. Like, that's the, like,
Is he going to get saved?
yeah, is he going to get saved? When's it going to happen? His buddy's got to help him out. He's getting beat down. Like, why can't he just reach his friend? He's crawling. Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. Best tag teams of all time. Hands down on the table right now. Boom, there they are. They are the blueprint for what tag team wrestling is. So I was looking at that, and I'm like, I was getting, like, some pretty good reactions as a single guy. Like, I was doing the dog, and Nick and I originally we started feuding at USWO, which is, like, ran by legend Tony Falk.
Yeah.
Guys like Ricochet and Chuck Taylor had gone through there. Christian Aim, we had an IWA and CZW runs, like, a couple guys here and there, you know. And we were feuding, and I was the heel with a stable, and I was, like, the secondary bad guy. Like, I was, like, a road dog, you know.
Yeah.
And, or, like, a Billy Gunn or an X-Pac. And then the leader of our stable was, like, the Triple H, you know. And we were called Whiteout with our black champion. It was like Obama got re-voted in or something. And we're like, that's our champion. That's our president, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Iggy were feuding for a belt. And because of how Iggy and I were, and we were having, like, and now, like, when I look back, I'm like, oh, God, I hate watching those matches, except for, like, 1 or 2 of them, because I'm just like, that's so fucking bad. But, like, at the time, we're like, oh, yeah, we're the shit. I put him in a surfboard and he reversed it to a reverse grab. And the fans were buying it, and it became less about the leader of our stable and Nick and about me versus Nick.
Yeah.
We got an offer to be brought into Saw, which had television, and we did the last night of that show. Nick and I would do this duck season, rabbit season thing where I would say, oh, like in breakdowns, before breakdown you hear, oh.
Yeah.
That was my catchphrase. That was my deal. And this is like before yes and no and all that.
Yeah.
And I would be like, oh, and the heel marks would be Oing with me, and then Nick would be like, no, it's not the letter O, it's the letter I, O, and then we'd double Hogan each other, you, and in the crowd, I owe you. And, you know, we did that to, like, pop ourselves, you know, and we got brought into the place, and they didn't have, like, Nick was already, like, an established local guy. Like, he was main eventing for places out here as, like...
I want to say I saw him in a Crossfire, maybe?
Yeah, he wrestled 7 that night.
Yeah.
And he was just like a white meat baby face who had a sign that said Iggy on it. And that was his gimmick. He came out to Magic Man, you know. And
I do remember that.
yeah, dude, he had the magic in him. And so we were teaming there as, like, white meat baby faces, but outside of the state of Tennessee, I was the dog. And, you know, Tennessee was like, you won't be a good dog. And, well, it's getting me booked in a couple different states, so I got to be doing something right, you know. Which started, I was owing at a crowd, and they barked at me, and I was like, well, fuck, I'm Rick Steiner. And they were like, fuck yeah, Rick Steiner. And so the promoter had a dog collar and threw it at me, and I was wearing, like, some Mojo knockoff tights, you know, the two-tone bikers. So I barked and had a dog collar and shit, and fucking got me booked, and I was like, hey, there's something to this dog shit. I wanted to be like Eddie Guerrero and Benoit and Saturn, and fucking I was going to be a work rate guy. Most success I ever had was barking and pissing on people. Fuck. Like, who thinks...
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I want to get into wrestling to fucking mock hump people, you know?
Yeah.
But just gave me book and gave me exposure at better places, and I went to PWF, Pro Wrestling Freedom, which is now defunct and taken over at Pro Wrestling Revolution, which is a cool place. I was there last night, actually. And that was, like, the first time I'd been at a place where they were booking, like, super indie guys, like Chuck Taylor and, like, you know, Jake Christ, not Dave, but Jake Christ, and like Gregory Iron and stuff like that. And the promoter's like, hey, you guys from Tennessee, so I mentioned my buddies, and the only one who hit back was Nick. And I was thinking at it, I was like, I could be a lower card, low card, I was like a Spike Dudley type, like, I would get wins out of nowhere, like a Mikey Whipwreck kind of type, where I could push this tag team that we're doing at Saw, and maybe we could tweak it and do something with it. We just got to figure out how to do it. So I call Nick, and I'm like, Nick, this is the deal. And Nick's like, cool, man. And Nick didn't watch indie wrestling. Nick didn't watch WCW because he felt it was disloyal to WWF as a kid.
I remember you telling me this, and I'm just like, how do you grow up as a wrestling fan not watching as much as you can?
Didn't watch ECW, none of it, man.
Gosh.
And so, like, he wasn't used to, like, he knew, like, local indie wrestling, but, like, what's that in the grand scheme of things?
Right.
And so I exposed him to, like, Chikara and Ring of Honor and, overseas stuff, New Japan and everything,
Yeah.
And, AAA, CMLL, and just everything I could show him. And he was out. He had tore MCL, maybe, I think, in his leg. Something like that. I think if that's in your leg, I might go with anatomy. ACL, something like that. Something in his leg was torn. Had to get fixed. And he's a huge Disney mark. We both love Disney. And so everyone's seen, like, Aggressive Dogs. Everyone's seen the Moon Dogs. Everyone's seen Rick Steiner.
Yeah.
People seen the Junkyard Dog, the British Bulldogs, even though they weren't really dogs, or the Pit Bulls or whatever. And I was like, well, you've seen all this. So, like, I'm going to be a puppy. Because everyone's done Mean Dogs. I'm going to be a happy dog. He doesn't know if he wants to shit inside the house or go play fetch.
Yeah.
Just oblivious,
Yeah.
So happy to fucking be there that he's just there. Well, he needs, what do you do with a dog? You get another dog? No. What's more classic than a boy and his dog? It's fucking Lassie and Timmy. It's Scooby and Shaggy. It's even to an extent Jake and Finn, which is like, eventually was a heavy basis of our stuff was Jake and Finn, adult themed humor portrayed through children,
Yeah.
And so we did this awesome angle, and it's like one of my proudest moments as a wrestler. We call it the Tinkerbell moment, and because of the live action Peter Pan. So we would go to shows, and Nick started waiting in line with the fans to get in. Have you seen my dog? Where's my dog? And like the little kids would get worried because like they know that that's fucked up. Like, oh, you lost his dog, shitty. He's wearing a Buzz Lightyear shirt, man. And then he handed out flyers, and he had the little gimmick on his phone where it was like a fake phone number. People could call and leave voice messages.
Yeah.
And it was the number, and it's brown fur, brownish black fur, this much weight, this much height, and it had my picture on it with the dog bone. And the crowd was like, the kids were like, he's here. And the kids would physically grab Nick to try to show him where I was at.
That's awesome.
And sure enough, Nick would come in, and I would leave. And Nick would leave, and I would come in. Your owner's looking for you. Your owner's looking for you. Well, I don't know where he is. And so I was doing a feud, and I was undefeated, doing like surprise wins, and I ended up getting a surprise win over one of their big bad guys, Cole Leighton King, who's a real cool guy, and the silverback Chris Hall, who's a cool guy. And we did a bull rope match, and I was gonna win. I'd hit like a German in the buckles on the guy, boom, and then the big man comes out. I got hit with a Cobra Clutch leg sweep, which is brother's finish at the time, and then an F5, and I'm dead. They killed the dog. They euthanized it, and that's the moment Iggy finds his dog dead in the middle of the street, ran over, and he's crying, and like kids are crying in the audience. Parents are crying in the audience.
Because there's nothing more sad than a crying kid.
Oh, God, yeah, because like the parents are like, fuck, it's wrestling, but then they see their kids, and they're like, I remember Scrappy when I was young. God damn it. And Nick goes, maybe if we clap, we can bring him back to life, which is the Tinkerbell moment from Julie Gardner. I don't know her name. Julie Garden?
Judy Gardner.
Now
I can't think of it. Yeah, now that you're saying it, I can't.
So the crowd's clapping, boom, 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 and it gets louder. Nick's feeding them up, like, come on. And I don't move. And Nick buries his head in the turnbuckle to cry. And then I shoot an arm up like Frankenstein, and the crowd erupts. They're just fucking losing their shit, and Nick's still crying. And I feed up the other arm, and they're fucking losing their shit. And I slowly compose myself to my feet, and Nick's wiping the tears away, and we back to each other. I give him the big Fez press and lick his face, and the crowd's on their feet cheering. And he brought me back to life from his love. And that's how we started.
Did you ever think you would just be in the fucking almost Emmy,
Yeah.
whatever it is, award-winning actor,
Yeah.
making kids cry and then just literally giving them joy in the same fucking 5 minutes.
Yeah, but being a wrestler, all wrestlers to some level, to be a good wrestler, you have to be extremely self-analytical. And so, like, even now, like, I'm proud of that moment, but I'm like, oh, God damn it, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
But we did that, and it was super over. We started teaming and getting some buzz, and we ended up working for Chaos Pro, which did a split show with Wrestling Is. During that little time of Chikara, we met the Hooligans, who'd been wrestling everywhere. They're 0-1 America champs and stuff like that. And they loved us like we loved them, and they taught us how to be a good tag team. They're brothers. They're everywhere. They do tours in Mexico, JCW Tag Team Champs, AEW Tag Team Champs out of Chicago. They wrestled for AEW, Beyond, IWA Mid-South, forever. Like, to me, they'll be in one of the big companies soon enough, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome.
And so that was a goal. And so, like, and Mickey Knuckles, too. Mickey Knuckles from TNA, you know, she's a good friend of mine and very helpful. She helped open the door for us at IWA Mid-South, which is, like, a big deal because of, like, past history with her and people. And she, like, did a lot for us she didn't have to do. She got us in at Resistance. Her and the Hooligans helped us get it Beyond. We had, like, our first match for Beyond will never see the light of day. It was at a WSU CZW split show in New Jersey. We went on during the intermission of the girls' half of the show, and then, like, those guys are there to see boobs and butts, not to see us kill each other. We had a three-way dance. A guy hit a 630. I powerbombed. Iggy was in the buckle. We were as a three-way dance. I went to buckle bomb a guy into Iggy, and I threw him too hard. His ass hit Iggy in the face, so we took a powerbomb to the concrete from inside the ring.
Gosh.
Yeah, the crowd went mild.
God.
Please don't die.
Yeah, no, not even that. They're just like, whatever. I'm gonna go buy some merch.
I saw a clip, speaking of, like, bad stuff. I saw a clip from, what was it, Battle of Los Angeles or whatever, the PWG?
Yeah.
Where he was doing a backdrop onto the
apron?
Missed the apron.
Oh,
I don't even remember who it was. Ooh. I saw.
Yeah.
I'll look it up after we're done. Here, I'll show it to you.
Apron's the hardest part of the ring. You know that?
Yeah.
Man.
I believe it.
That's why I give moves to the apron, but don't take them.
Yeah.
What about that Death Carry driver, though?
Yeah, man. I've been doing a move lately, trying to get it over, hooking up the Death Valley driver, and I run them to the buckles instead of just throwing them in the buckles or whatever. I just jam their head in the top turnbuckle and then throw them to the outside of the ring as hard as I can. Has been getting some pretty good reactions. Back to goals, like, and you know, we got to do like a security spot for Ring of Honor, which is like not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but to us it was something, you know.
There
like,
you meet people and you.
Yeah, absolutely, like
Networking.
Yeah, man, and so like that's a thing, you know. And right now for me is like trying to get in all these like good shows that I can, like AWE in Atlanta's killing it, like through there, like my buddy Chip Day and Murder One got me on there. Murder One, former NWA, you know, tag champion, I believe, and wrestled for Urban Wrestling Federation, trained some awesome wrestlers, you know. Chip Day, the South's best kept secret, he should have been signed to a company somewhere, some super indie a long time ago. I got to meet guys like Jimmy Rave, who's become a friend of mine, who Jimmy's been, you know, best of the Super Juniors in Japan, TNA Television, Ring of King India, you know, Ring of Honor founding, you know, one of the founding guys back in the early days of Ring of Honor, like, and that's what wrestling is, like, you set goals to, like, meet people and learn from people and pick their brains and get exposure on this place because they have great DVD sales, or these people are real hot on, like, you know, internet pay-per-views, or these people get covered by good websites. And, like, ultimately, like, my only goal in wrestling was to have one match. My, like, hidden nerd goal is to have, like, Suicidal Dragon comes out of retirement and makes best 75 moves of Kerry Awful. You know? That's my dream. Like, number, you know, 62, T-bone suplex into the buckles, you know?
It's crazy. I get so frustrated when people make those videos because it'll be like vertical suplex, and it's like, okay, they do it nice, but everybody does that. Like, why are you
scoop slam? Man,
shave 45 seconds off the video and
Instead of doing best 75 moves, why don't you do the best 10 moves and leave out that 5 clothesline combo he just did?
Yeah, man. Fuck, it's just for me. My goal is to try to make a better fan base, meet more people, work more guys. Like, ideally, I would be signed to, you know, not even like a full-time contract would be sweet, you know what I mean? But, like, getting a shot at doing something at Ring of Honor, like, you know, they do tryout camps. That's the way to get in now.
Yeah.
You pay your money, you get looked at by guys who have made a living off of wrestling, and, like, that's the ultimate goal of professional wrestling is to pay your bills with wrestling.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, they talk about, they're like, oh, the territories aren't around anymore and blah, blah, and it's harder for wrestlers. Right now, I don't think it is.
No.
If you get good enough, I mean, you can make a living doing wrestling.
Dude,
Like,
and like we talked
if you
about
get
earlier,
where you can get.
You can literally work in indie one day, work for NXT the next day,
and work for the competition after that, or go to Japan.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a great time. There's money to be made.
And wrestling's about paying dues, man. It's just like music. Like, it's an art form, right? And there's a lot of starving artists out there, but like, luckily I'm blessed to have a good job and an understanding fiance, and I don't hurt for money. I break even or make money more often than I lose money at this point, which wasn't how it was my first 2-3 years in, you know. But, did I make a lot more money? Yeah, absolutely. Everybody can in life. But like my goal, like most of my goals I originally set for myself, I hit. Some of the goals, like I may didn't hit, but I tried. I put myself in the best possible position, and I maybe it just wasn't that guy's cup of tea, Honestly, like I would love to go to Ring of Honor because that was the style of wrestling that I would want to do. Right. But ultimately, I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and do the tryout camp, and a lot of it's like fear too. Like I'm not a jacked guy by any means, and like there are exceptions to the rules. There's Joe, there's Owens, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's Trevor Murdoch's,
Well, yeah. Well, Ring of Honor doesn't seem to be too much of a problem in terms of like
body image
stuff there. Not so much.
But as a wrestler,
it's still
you feel like it's almost like you're a girl on prom night. Am I prettier than her? Are they gonna like me better than her? Is my gown better than them? They have a prettier gown than I have. It could be anything. They may not like. And there's just so many factors that play into it. Like, in Ring of Honor is a televised product. You have to know how to work a hard cam. You have to know and even to get in there, like. You have to have steam on you, They have to know who you are. You can't just be like this guy,
Yeah, it's either that or they have to figure out how they can mold you to be theirs from the get go.
And can you sell T-shirts? Yeah. Can you sell seats?
Again, it's all about money.
Yeah, man, it's a business. Like I could be, goddamn Luthez, but if I'm not marketable Luthez, then fuck me, get out. Yeah. There's tons of awesome wrestlers out there who have no gimmick and no character.
Yeah, no person and that's the problem. You could be like technically the best ever, and that's with that NXT thing. I saw people complaining online. They were like, "Well, that Iron Woman match wasn't as good as the Brooklyn match. The spots weren't as great." And I was like, "Yeah, but when have you watched a match with that much emotion? Like I can watch the most perfect match I've ever seen, but forget about it."
Right,
but then you see
you're not going to
like,
forget Izzy's headband getting ripped off and her crying like.
You see that? Yeah, it's like I can. There's probably like a perfect like Guerrero match out there that was just before he started really like bringing on the heat to himself and all the gimmick and stuff that I won't remember, but I'll remember the Triple H Steve Austin 3 Stages of Hell match from No Way Out in 2001 because of the last time they did that was not good. I think it was like Cena and Ryback they did it. So if that's anything,
the Ryback, that guy's cool, man. I've read The Secret. The fucking there's I'm maybe like Ryback's made way more money than I have. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I thought it was cool he read The Secret because I read that book. I was like, go, like Mean Girls, go.
Well, it looks like we're kind of running short on time. We've been going a little while with this. Before we get out of here, you can get your T-shirts, the Team IOU shirts, at Pro Wrestling Tees. You can look them up. You've got a couple different designs on there.
Yeah, we got the some of those T-shirt designs are old when we were doing the Boy and His Dog. We're carnies now.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. See, when I started wrestling, that's what it was. Everybody was a carny.
Yeah, man, we're Southern wrestlers. We're wrestlers in the land of wrestlers. We got the 2 carny shirt on. You can pick that up at live events. Shout out to our sponsors, Grappler Brand. You can see them on Instagram and Pro Wrestling Tees. I got you, Lopez. You hear this? I'm putting you over, brother. My buddy James Vanderbeek, spelled Jaims, Vanderbeek at Twitter, does some design work for us. He actually designed my new dog mask. And if you got to hit us up, it's at Kerry Awful. Iggy's is at IggyNJ210 on Twitter. Everything else is, oh God, yeah. That was the first thing I said. I was like, no one's gonna know who the hell you are.
Start a new one.
Yeah, just Nick Iggy, plain and simple. But he's Nick Iggy on everything else. YouTube, /TeamIOU, free matches, promos, interviews, us cutting up, doing weird stuff. Come to shows, hang out, boo me,
Support
cheer me.
indie wrestling. Support wrestling as a
Absolutely.
whole. Stop being a smart pan and just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's fun. Go do it. You watch movies. Go watch wrestling too. You
Absolutely.
don't get to tell the movie how it's made. Stop trying to tell the wrestling how it's made.
Exactly.
thank
Exactly.
you. Yeah,
But
man.
we're on a podcast and we're going to tell them what's wrong with it because
Yeah.
that's what we want to do, and I like to bitch about stuff. So that's still
Yeah.
going to happen. So I'm still going to tell those writers at WWE how to do their job, but then I'm also going to tell everybody else to shut up because you don't know it either.
Awesome.
But yeah, it was a good time, man. Glad to have you
man.
here. It was a good conversation.
Yeah.
We'll talk more after the recording's over, and we'll have you on again if you ever want to come on.
Yeah,
You and
man.
Nick, and
Absolutely.
the
dude.
tag team. All right, this
Tag
is
team interview, brother. That's what we do best.
Kick Out at 2 podcast. We're here with Kerry Awful, Righteous Jesse, and the Wilkman, Christopher Wilkins. We're out of here.